Alright, I'm ready to go. Hi, and welcome back to the first official video on this new channel that I am starting, Ronnie the Reader here. So today what I thought I would do is just go over my entire physical TBR. So like I mentioned, like in my channel trailer, if you didn't watch that, TBRs don't really go well for me, like making them. I've made some in the past, and there's just something about sticking to a TBR that has never been fun for me in a way. Like, I've definitely done it for some other videos in the past, which we are going to explore in a little series I'm going to start to kick off the channel. That'll be the next video after this one, so stay tuned. Definitely some reactions coming your way, which are always fun. So yeah, but TBRs aren't that great. I obviously do have a physical TBR. Now for me, I only add books like on Goodreads specifically to like want to read if I own them physically. Anything else I'll just mark as interested on Goodreads. So I'll only add a book once I have it physically. So here I don't have that many books. I think it's probably like maybe 25 or so. I am not someone who likes to have a large kind of TBR. It does have me feeling a little overwhelmed at certain points to have a super, super large one. I definitely like to keep it manageable. I've found I'm very comfortable in the 20 to 30 range. I do unhaul books, I guess, pretty frequently. That's only started within the last couple of years, though, since like 2020. I'll usually do like 1 to 2, maybe a year overall. So there may be another one coming at the end of this year because I do plan on moving in November. And traditionally when I've moved has been some times when I've done some unhauls. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to go through every book on my physical TBR. They are here on a TBR cart, which I actually just bought. I know I'm like 2 to 3 years so late on that trend. We'll get into the TBR. I'll let you know all of the books. So the first two books I'm going to show you are probably going to be some of the next two books that I actually read. And that is going to be the Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin and The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. These are books 2 and 3 in the Broken Earth trilogy. I'm currently reading book 1. I am on page like 250, around there. I'm on chapter 16. So I have, just a little bit left. I do plan on finishing it. I am enjoying it. However, I will say I was getting slightly confused on who the characters were. So I looked up a character map for the characters in the book just to kind of have a visual and keep track. And I did see a spoiler on that. So I am a little disappointed because I feel like I did not necessarily see that coming. If you know, you know. If you've read the 5th season, which is the first book in this trilogy, then you know, but whatever. These are probably some of the next two books that I will read, like I said. Some of the next books are primarily mystery thriller books that I've gotten, which, like I said, is my favorite genre. So the first book we have up is going to be Saint X by Alexis Scheitkin. I really should have looked up how to say some of these names before I... This book, I don't really know too much what it's about. I know that I think it's a family who was on vacation, and there was 2 daughters. One of the daughters was murdered, I believe, and then now the younger daughter, it's like a couple of years later, 10, 15, 20, the classic mystery thriller years later number. And she's like investigating her sister's death and kind of what actually happened because she doesn't believe what did happen. So I'm excited to get to this. Just recently bought that. The next book that I have is going to be The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I don't really know what this book is about. I do like to typically go into most of my mystery thrillers pretty blind. I usually just hear like a little synopsis one time and then we'll add it to like my interested list on Goodreads and then we'll be on the lookout for them. Lisa Jewell, I've read I think 2 books by her. I know I really liked When She Was Gone, and I read I think I got rid of it. No, it's still here. This one, The Family Upstairs. Didn't like as much as When She Was Gone. I actually read The Family Upstairs first and When She Was Gone second. So excited to see what I think of a third one. I don't, like I said, don't know what that's about. The next book is more of a horror book, which is a genre I'm trying to get a little bit more into since it's pretty close to the mystery thriller genre. And that is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Once again, I actually don't know what this book is about. I know it's like super popular and super hyped, and I've kind of avoided all descriptions of the plot of this, so I am just excited to jump into it and see what I think, because everyone says that he is a really great writer. I'm not really interested in The Only Good Indians because I've heard there's like animal violence in that, which I'm like not, I can't really do animal violence too much. So I'm hoping that this does not have that, and it's more so people. Right to jail. The next book I have is another mystery thriller. It's Hostage by Claire McIntosh. This is the story of, I believe, a woman who receives a note that she has to do something to like save her child. I don't know. I read, I finished one Claire McIntosh and really liked it. Let Me Go, or Let Me Lie. Let Me Lie, I believe is what that one is called. And then I DNF'd. Does she also have one called Let Me Go? I don't know. I DNF'd one just earlier this year because I wasn't vibing with it. I didn't like it. I just wasn't into it. So this will be kind of my third and final test with Claire McIntosh to see what I think. The next one I have is going to be The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. This is an Australian author who I've read 2 books by, The Mother-in-Law and The Good Sister, and I enjoyed The Mother-in-Law a lot. I think I give it 5 stars, actually. The Good Sister I liked a little bit less. There was a little bit more, how do you say, potentially problematic elements of that particular book, and just the overall story I didn't find as gripping or as engaging with me. So this one seems like your traditional like domestic thriller, mystery, family novel, which I am a sucker for. I know people are kind of tired of that type of genre of like whatever, and there's definitely elements of that particular genre and certain tropes that I'm a little tired of, but like just a good old-fashioned like domestic mystery, I just really, really love it. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I like what I like.
Some of the next books are going to all be parts of series. So the next 2 are going to be The Wizard Heir and The Dragon Heir by Cinda Williams Shima or Chima. These are books 2 and 3 of the Heir series, which is kind of like companion novels. Now, I read the Warrior Heir in like 2020, maybe 2021, and then started and got halfway through The Wizard Heir a little bit later in the year, and just never finished it. So I am still hoping to get to these eventually. Especially because the next 3 books that I have are books 2, 3, and 4 of the Seven Realms series, also by Cinda Williams Chama. So this is The Exiled Queen, The Grey Wolf Throne, and The Crimson Crown. I read the first book in the series, The Demon King, in 2021, and once again, just haven't continued. I'm very bad at continuing series. I really, really want to, I'm not putting them off for any particular reason. I really liked The Warrior Heir. I liked The Demon King a little bit less, but I thought they were good. They're very classic YA fantasy series, so I would like to get to them. The next 2 I have are not part of a series necessarily together, but they are by the same author, and that is going to be Sky Hunter by Marie Lu and Rebel by Marie Lu, which is actually a continuation of the Legend trilogy. Which I re-listened to Legend and Prodigy last year, like early last year, like January or February, and I started re-listening to Champion, which I read them physically years ago in like 2015, and I thought Legend held up pretty well. Prodigy was not my favorite, and Champion I just couldn't get into, so I'm a little apprehensive. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get to this, to be honest. Like, this is one that might not make it in the move. Like, if I don't get to it by the time I move, I don't necessarily need to keep this, to be honest. And as far as Sky Hunter, I just haven't gotten to it, to be honest. I'm not sure if this is another start of a series or if it's just a standalone. I do like Marie Lu, or at least I did. The last thing I read from her was actually The Kingdom of Back, which was just not my type of book. I probably shouldn't have read it, but yeah, and then I didn't really enjoy the Warcross and Wildcard duology, so maybe she's an author of the past that I just, is not for me anymore necessarily, but, there's only one way to find out, and that's to read her books. The next series that I have, which I'm only going to hold up one book, I don't want to grab all of them, but it is the rest of A Song of Ice and Fire. So this is A Clash of Kings, but I do have down here A Storm of Swords, A Dance with Dragons, and A Feast for Crows. Are those in the right order? see, I don't even know. I read A Game of Thrones in, let's see, I started it in 2016. Well, actually, technically, I started Game of Thrones in 2012 when I got my Kindle for Christmas in 2012. And then had restarted it multiple times, finally finished it. I don't even know. I was in college sometime, so anywhere between 2017 and 2019, I think. I'd have to go back and look to see exactly when I finished it. I got 100 pages into A Clash of Kings shortly thereafter. I've already seen the show though, so it's still very similar to the show at this point in the books. Um, it's just I'm not sure if this is a series that I will continue. I just don't want to get. I like them, they're all like these big paperback sizes, but I do need to replace this one because it doesn't match. I have the rest of them and the traditional covers like this that you think of. So I do want to replace this one eventually. Yeah, but I just don't know if I'm ever going to read these, but I don't want to get rid of them, which is not unprecedented for me. Like I have the kind of like Lord of the Rings books here, including The Hobbit. Never read Lord of the Rings, never read The Hobbit. Probably never going to read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, but I do like having them. Actually, technically, these Lord of the Rings books were Jake's, my fiance's, so they're, I guess, technically not even mine. The next books, these are all potential unhauls, so they're at the very bottom of the cart, and they are books that I'm just apprehensive of because I've had them for so long. This particular book that I'm about to hold up is, I think, one that probably will be unhauled by me. Uh, and that is Columbine by Dave Collin. Now, I actually listened to like 40 or 50% of this book as an audiobook back in 2017 or 2018, maybe 2019. It was like early in the year. I remember it was like winter because it was cold outside and I live in Arizona and it is never cold out here except for like 2 months out of the year. And so I know it was like around the early-ish start of the year. And this is a book that is just really difficult, especially I find as I get older, I'm having a lot more difficult time in partaking and kind of consuming like true crime stories, especially one centered around a school shooting, when that is obviously a huge, prevalent, just issue in America. And reading this was just really, really difficult, and listening to it was really, really difficult. I just don't know if I'm emotionally in the good enough place to be doing this to myself. So this is why I've never finished it. I do, once again, like the size of this book, and I'm unsure of getting rid of this. So we'll see how. I am 99% sure I'm never going to read this. So I'm just like, I should get rid of it, but I want to keep it. So I just keep it. The next couple of books are all going to be Book of the Month books. So I used to be a subscriber to Book of the Month. I ended up not subscribing or canceling my subscription for two reasons. One, I was going through a financial hardship at the time and just didn't think that should be spending that money every single month. And two, I really, 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 really hate hardcover books. I really do. If I'm going to read a book, I want to read it in the paperback version. So what I will do if there's a new release coming out that I'm super excited about, I will typically try to listen to it as an audiobook first. And then if I really like it and want to buy it, I'll wait till the paperback comes out and buy it in paperback. I'm not opposed to buying it in hardcover. Like right here, I have The Villas by Rachel Hawkins, which I listened to earlier this year and really loved. I actually gave it 5 stars. It was a shocking revelation because I thought The Wife Upstairs was good. I really didn't like Reckless Girls. And so I went into it with the lowest of expectations, ended up really enjoying it, and I found it for cheap at a used bookstore and bought it in hardcover. So I'm not opposed to it, but with Book of the Month books, they always come out in hardcovers. When did this come out? This was September 2019, so this would have been my second or third pick, and that is The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup, which is a Swedish author, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe when does this take place? Copenhagen. So Denmark. It's big, it's long, it's a hardcover. It's more horror, I think. It's about a serial killer, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm definitely interested in it. It's not that I'm not, but it's just not a book that I've reached for. And it's been almost 4 years at this point. In September, it'll be 4 years. So we will see if that ever gets read. That's why these are on the very bottom, because like I said, I'm just very unsure. The next one is from March of 2021. So this would have been one of the last Book of the Month books that I did, because I did it from like mid 2019 into like April or May, I think, of 2021. And that is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And this I was really excited for when I heard about it, but the more and more I kind of got into it, I just don't know if it is exactly the book for me. It is short though. It's only like 200 or maybe just like over 300 pages. Yeah, like just over 300 pages. So like it could really be a super quick read. I just haven't gotten to it because I'm just unsure if I'm gonna like it. The next book is one that I'm super still excited for.
Sure, Dan.
And that is Recursion by Blake Crouch. Really liked Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Recursion, truth be told, I don't remember what this is about anymore. I know I did at one point. Once again, it's just a book that I haven't reached for in the last 4 years. So, yeah, I'm excited. Like, I do want to read this. I just don't know if I'm ever going to. The next and final book of the month remainer that we have that I haven't read is from August of 2020, and that is The Space Between Worlds by Micah. Is that Micah? Micaiah Johnson, maybe. This book was one that I was initially excited for and initially had heard good things about, but then when it actually came out, I think the book actually didn't get that great reviews. I don't know. I know I've said that about all four of these Book of the Month books. Those are the only four that I have remaining that I did not read. There are other Book of the Month books that I had that I've unhauled in the past, and there's a couple others where like I just didn't want to skip a month, and so I just selected a book that just wasn't interesting. As you can see, or maybe over here, these are some of the Book of the Month books that I've gotten. Um, I'm really into the mystery thriller books that come out through Book of the Month, so that's primarily the sort of books that I would get from there. And when they didn't have a selection I was excited about, or no selection for mystery thriller at all, I just selected a random book, which is not good. So if Book of the Month ever wants to sponsor me, though, not gonna be opposed to that for sure. I mean, because I really have enjoyed pretty much every book that I got and read through Book of the Month. Just, at this point, I don't know how we're going to get along. But anyway, I have two more books, and these books, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'm ever going to read them, but I am going to keep them if I ever decide to officially remove them from my TBR. So the first one is The Romanovs by Simon Sebag Montefiore. This book is beautiful. I absolutely love it. It is stunning. It is heavy. It is dense. I did start this. The only thing about this book is that it does have deckled edges, and I hate deckled edges. I'm not a fan of them. But this book goes through the entire Russian monarchy from 1613 to 1918. And yeah, I find the Tsar system of Russia to be really fascinating and really interesting. And so that's why I initially bought this. I actually bought this for myself for my birthday, my freshman year of college. I think that's when I bought that. I can't even remember at this point. So if I ever do decide to read this, I mean, it's going to take me a long time. I definitely would have to get an audiobook for it to help me through, but I think I just want to remove it from my TBR eventually. So one thing that I've been doing the last 2 years is at the very end of the year, I moved in November of last year, so I did it in November. But I kind of went through all of my books, and if there was any book that I was just like, I'm not going to read it, I removed it from my TBR on Goodreads, and in some cases did unhaul, in other cases did not. So I think by the end of the year, and I could just do it now if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to wait till the end of the year. I'm going to unhaul technically from my TBR, but keep the last book I have, which I'm not even sure if I have marked on Goodreads at all, is owned or on my TBR, but it's Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, obviously by the Brothers Grimm. A huge book, very, very huge. It has hundreds of stories in it, and I've read some of them. I would read occasionally a few short stories for readathons and stuff that I used to do in the past. So I think I'm actually going to take this off of the TBR cart and put it back on my bookshelf, because will I ever sit down and read this from page 1 all the way through? No, but I think it's a cute book to have. I actually got it on sale for like $5 from Barnes & Noble bargain section. So it's just nice to have, but I don't know why I have it down here. I'm probably going to actually put that back on the bookshelf. But that is every single physical TBR book that I currently own. So I wasn't counting, but like I said, I think it's like around 25 or so. Like somewhere in that range, in that number. Those are all of the books that I have on my physical TBR. I definitely plan on, at the end of the month of June, doing a kind of mid-year wrap-up. Probably not the mid-year book freakout tag, but more so just like a wrap-up, going through some of the books that I have. Then at the end of the year, if I decide to get rid of any books, then I will film an unhaul and let you know what books I'm getting rid of. And then I probably will do a big full year book haul in December, is my plan, what I'm thinking of doing right now. So we'll see, which at this point in the year, I think I've hauled like 15 books already. Again, I've read most of them already. I'm not too concerned about like adding a ton of books to my TBR or anything. So let me know if you've read any of these books, if you think I should get rid of any of these books, if you think I should move any of these books to the top of my TBR. Go ahead and let me know. And yeah, that is all for now. So thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.